I would like to welcome everybody to the 5,561st meeting of the Rotary Club of Chicago. Rotary One is now in session. And we will start out, as we always do, with the thought of the day. And for that, I'm going to turn the floor over to our immediate past president and all-around great guy, Mr. Marshall Schmidt. Marshall, the floor is yours.
Thank you for that introduction, Eric. So given the program today, you probably can all guess what the source of the quotes will be for the thought of the day. And there'll be a bonus. There are several quotes. Our 44th president, Barack Obama, understood the significance of serving others. In a speech at the University of Tucson, or in Tucson at the University of Arizona, in the middle of his presidency, he said, "We are reminded that in the fleeting time we have on this earth, what matters most is not wealth or status or power or fame, but rather how well we have loved and what small part we have played in making the lives of other people better." In a recent Atlantic interview, President Obama cited his visits to Rotary clubs as one inspiration he experienced in his campaign for the U.S. Senate. Visits, by the way, I believe that included visiting this club. But during his farewell tour, when lamenting about the polarization of the country, he also asked the question, where was Rotary in this fractured world in which we live? And this is a question that as Rotarians, we must answer every day. We certainly would love to have President Obama return when the pandemic eases so that we can address the question in person with him. But for now, our president-elect, Marga Hugo, will begin that dialogue. Marga?
Thank you, Marshall. Hello, Michael. Welcome to our club. We're delighted to have you here. Where is Rotary? When we are in Rotary, we know we are everywhere. Rotary has a presence in more than 160 countries worldwide. The headquarters are located in Evanston. And we have 36,000 clubs all over the world with a little bit over 1.2 million members. And we have a common cause, which is the eradication of polio, which is the cause that gathers Rotarians all over the world. And Rotarians are by nature very generous people. And out of their own pockets, since the campaign for polio eradication began, Rotarians have donated over $1.5 billion for this campaign. Added to that, then Bill Gates came out later, and there's a consortium of organizations that are helping eradicate polio. But that is the general cause. I would like to share with you the value of Rotary. The value, we're all volunteers. We don't charge for any of the work we do for Rotary. And we have asked a Johns Hopkins Center for Civil Society Studies to estimate the value of what we do, because we really don't talk about it, but we realize we have to start talking about it. So in any given year, Johns Hopkins has estimated that we offer 47 million volunteer hours, and they quantified it as a value of $850 million. So next slide, please. We do a lot of grants. We're known for, student exchange programs, for vocational programs, for peace scholars. But just to let you know, in the year 1920, for the first time in history, we have provided, when I say Rotarians all over the world, over $300 million in grants. We have areas of focus we're interested in, such as literacy, economic development, peace and conflict resolution, which is a huge aspect of Rotary, maternal child health, disease prevention and control. So, and we have a new area of focus, which is the environment. And everybody's very excited about doing global grants on this new area of focus, because the environment involves peace and involves all of us as well. We are, as you can imagine, being in over 160 countries, we are one of the most diverse organizations you are going to find anywhere in the world. And as you see in the slides, we welcome people of all backgrounds, from presidents, for example, the president of Portugal, as young kids that are part of our young organization called Rotary, that have been born and grown up and still live in refugee camps in Uganda. We work with them, we support them, and we are an amazing network. The reason we have a wheel with teeth, as you see in our logo, is that we are designed to work together with other clubs all over the world. So, if I am going to make a focus of where we are in the Chicago area, we are divided in districts, and the district that involves the city of Chicago, in the year 2013 through 2021, we have given $4.6 million in global grants. That is not counting the foundations that different clubs, such as us, that we raise more funds to be used locally in our communities. So so this is a summary of what I would like to share with you. And I really do hope that you join us to come and visit the headquarters where they're open to the public. We may have to wait until next year, but this is just a screenshot of who we are. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you so much, Marga and Marshall. It's really good to know what we're doing out there, and I know we could talk for days about it, right? So thank you for so concisely hitting some of those key points. It's fantastic. Kind of coming back to our club, Rotary Club of Chicago, I know one of the things, of course, that many people ask me is, when are we meeting again in person? And recently we've done surveys of our members through the Gyrator newsletter, as well as at our online meetings. And we have definitely some mixed results. I think there's a lot of people who will do it once they are vaccinated, or once everybody around them is vaccinated. So we're sort of split on folks who would sort of meet maybe starting in April or May versus those waiting for full vaccination. So my guess is as we move forward, and I'll discuss this with the board, but we'll probably start dipping our toes into the water, maybe with an occasional hybrid meeting to see if folks are willing to show up, but understanding that there's a lot that still are not comfortable doing so. So just wanted to share that with you. How many people out there remember their first summer or part-time jobs? I'm sure most of you do, and it probably had a pretty big impact on your life, right? And imagine what kind of impact that has for many of our students here in the city of Chicago. So with that in mind, we have now our Job One program about to go into full swing, where we provide jobs for Chicago high school students and job skills training. I'm going to pass the floor over to our Job One chair, Alita Williams, who will tell us what the call for action is right now from our members.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Eric, for giving me this quick moment to ask for our call to action for Job One. Wrigley Field, that's awesome, Gail. I would like to invite anyone out there who is interested in taking on one of our wonderful 31 students that we have signed up for our summer internship program to be a part of their organization this summer, and to show them what it's like to work in a work environment, in a professional work environment. Or if you aren't able to and you would like to help sponsor a student to go to a nonprofit, we will also very much appreciate that. We have a student actually who wants to be a veterinarian and so much wants to take an intern, but they cannot afford to pay for an intern. So anyone who would like to donate $1,200, in which we can match that, or if you want to donate the entire summer, which would be $2,400 for a student to work at a nonprofit, we would more than welcome that. And that helps also open our students' eyes to the work that can be done in a nonprofit environment to help their to help their community and their environment around them. If you have any questions, the information is on the screen. It will also be in the chat, I'm sure, but feel free to reach out to any one of us and we will definitely put you in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alita. I'm really enjoying reading all the first jobs that people are posting in the chat box. I guess what I'm realizing is everybody had much more interesting first jobs than I did. So I must have missed out on something. My grandmother had a really interesting one. She was an elevator operator at Marshall Fields, which would have been, I guess, late 30s, early 40s. So that also always sounded like an interesting first job to have. Okay. So let's move into our program here today. And first, I want to introduce our program's co-chair, one of the people responsible for bringing in so many of the great speakers that you see here at the Rotary Club of Chicago. He's also an immigration attorney and a leader in the diplomatic community here in Chicago. I'd like to hand the floor over to Mr. Don Gardner.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that kind introduction. I was trying to think of my first summer job. It was more probably just mowing yards, but I did participate as an employer in the first job one experience and found it brought value not only to me as an employer, but incredible value to the student that we hired. So I do recommend that you take Alita up on her offer, because it's great for all parties concerned. And to Marga's comments, as a former Rotary scholar, I received personally money to study abroad, and it was one of the best experiences of my life, truly life-changing, led me into the direction of immigration law. So please do keep those dollars coming. Now it is my really distinct pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Mike Strautmanis, goes by Michael or Mike. Him and I, we've known each other since the late 80s when we went to U of I together. In fact, Mike, I bought my old U of I cup that's a little faded, but we were in the same dorm, and we met on various occasions, and I was just so impressed by this young man who really sparkled with talent and is just a very easy guy to get to know. He's also just really a cool cat. So with that, I'd like to just mention a few things from his very long resume and then turn the floor over to Mike so he can talk to us. So after undergrad at U of I, he continued on to law school at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. And graduating, Marshall, you might like to hear this. His first job was at Michael Best and Friedrich. So from there, he decided to move on and became special assistant for the USAID. From that point, he was the legislative director for the U.S. House of Representatives. Then he went and moved to the Council for Legislation. And then he was the chief counsel for the U.S. Senate from 2005 to 2008. Then he became a counselor for Obama for America. And from that point, became chief of staff to senior advisor Valerie Jarrett and counselor for strategic engagement. After that, he moved to Walt Disney over in LA for a couple of years, and then was brought back to be the executive vice president for the Barack Obama Foundation. He's also a member of the board of directors for the Lyric Opera of Chicago. So please give a warm Rotary welcome to Mike Strautmanis. Mike?
All right. Don, I really do think out of all the things you said that in your eyes, being a cool cat is the highest compliment. So I accept that gracious compliment, and I really appreciate it. I think this is a tremendous opportunity for us at the Obama Foundation to present to the first Rotary Club. And there is such a longstanding, you all are part of the legacy of President Obama. And so I think it's only appropriate that I have the opportunity to come back, that as a representative of President Obama, I have the opportunity to come back and speak to you. But I will tell you that I learned about this club not from the work that you do and your great reputation, but at home. My mother, who passed away a few years ago, one of their dear friends, lifelong friends, who helped raise me, were our Jim and Tommy Meehan. We lost Jim just a few years ago, but they really showed me, both as a young person, as I got older, what being a Rotarian was all about, what service was all about, what service for others was all about. And so when I had the opportunity to come and talk to you, I know who you are because of the love, affection, and deep respect that I have for the Meehans, for Jim and Tommy, and Tommy in particular, who is just such a dear friend of my mom. So with that, let me take the opportunity to share with you what the Obama Foundation is doing in your fair city, in our fair city, and then I'd love to take your questions. So if we go to the next slide, you'll see our mission, and the President Obama, as he was leaving and really in the middle of his second term, started to gather us for conversations about his post-presidency. And he had seen the other presidential libraries, as they were called. And I think he found that there was a unique opportunity in front of him. The first is that he and his wife, a lot of these presidential foundations were very much, and the centers in particular, were sort of backward-looking organizations. It really took a look at the legacy of the president. And he's, was and still is a relatively young guy, and figured, well, I've got a lot to do still. In fact, he told us that his expectation was that he would have more of an impact on the world as a former president than he did during his presidency. And so we looked at the challenges that face us as a society, globally, nationally, and right here in Chicago, and really found that he might be able to help society best if he were a part of changing civic engagement, changing the way that people who wanted to make a change in the world felt more agency and more effectiveness in doing so. And so this mission that we have to inspire, empower, and connect people is the cause of his post-presidency, and really he's very excited about the opportunity that the foundation has in front of us to be able to be impactful in helping other people become impactful. And Chicago is fortunate enough to have the most public-facing manifestation of its mission in the Obama Presidential Center, which we hope will tell a story about Chicago that has always been true. It's one of the reasons why he came here. It's one of the reasons why he was able to stand on the shoulders of others who came before him. And Chicago, this is a Chicago story. We hope and we intend that millions of people in the decades to come will be inspired, will have the tools to change the world, and be connected to one another. So, because we all know that you can do more together than we do and could do apart. And so this idea of telling stories and sharing values to lift people up and inspire them to get engaged, to give people the tools when they come to Chicago and the resources to be able to make the changes they want to see in the world. And then connecting people who come to the center and those who don't. that we can do this digitally now as well, in order to make the whole greater than the sum of the parts, is an exciting mission that's in front of us. So if you go to the next slide, what you'll see is that we take that global mission, and we have to start somewhere, right? So where do we start? Particularly when it comes to Chicago, you'll see we have all kinds of other active programming going on. But when we come to Chicago, we know that we're going to have a very unique impact in the neighborhoods around the Presidential Center. You see at the top left of this map of the South Side, Washington Park. You see below it Woodlawn, and you see below that South Shore. And you see our headquarters, our offices, when we get back there, are in Hyde Park. We know that we're going to have a unique impact on these neighborhoods. And we also know that, frankly, if you look at the city, what you'll see is that, as President Obama often says, and I agree with him, if you're downtown, the city, frankly, has never looked better in my lifetime. And then as you move south, you see the lack of investment that's there. And so we know the impact that has on the neighborhoods. We know the impact that lack of investment has on our city, our idea of ourselves as one city. So we're excited about building this thing with our core communities, so that they understand that we know we're going to have a unique and special relationship with the core communities around the Presidential Center. Next slide will show you that the Chicago impact that we're going to have has already begun. We've had more public meetings that I could count about this. We've met people where they are, been in fairs and festivals. I'm looking at those pictures, and I got to get vaccinated so I can get back out there. We've convened meetings in small groups, one-on-one conversations. Why? Because we want people to have input into creating this global institution. And we want to make sure that we can leverage their ideas and take in their passion and their critique to make this project better. And we also hope that along the way, and we've seen some examples of this, that we've helped already start our mission, where we've inspired people to engage and make their community a better place. Just one example that I'll share with you is in the aftermath of the really painful violence that we started to see inflicted upon our Asian brothers and sisters. One of our former interns, an African-American woman, grew up on the South Side of Chicago, worked with one of her friends, an Asian young lady from Chicago, and they started to bring together awareness and tools for engagement to protect and enhance the experience of our Asian brothers and sisters in Chicago, and make sure that they were working across racial lines to be able to create a better, safer community, and really draw a line against the violence, against the discrimination, against the racism that started to manifest. It's been there in the past, but it really started to manifest itself recently in horrific ways. And so we're excited that we're already seeing community members coming together and mobilizing to create a better city. If you go to the next slide, you'll see that, but we aren't just focused in Chicago. We're also focused around the world. And I know Rotarians work and see this global village. And so our Presidential Center will be based here, but our programming has already begun and will continue to be global and really accessible through digital tools to anyone everywhere. And if you look at the map there, what you'll see highlighted are leadership development programming and people who participate in leadership development programming in Asia, in Africa, in South America, Latin America, and in Europe, and around the United States. And when you look at Asia, you should include Hawaii as well, as we want to have that a broader Eastern perspective in our work. And so these leadership programs have begun, and we're already learning a lot. We're already learning a lot from them that will continue to build on the leadership development that we do. And one of our goals is to really bring the world to Chicago, but also to bring Chicago to the world. And we're excited about the opportunity that we have to do that. If you go to the next slide, you'll see, well, let's go a little deeper into the Presidential Center itself so you'll know what's coming to our city. I remember President Obama coming to our community meeting and really explaining to people that, yes, when they think about these presidential libraries, maybe they think about the museum that will tell the story of the former president. We're going to have one of those. It's going to be in that spectacular tower that you see building upwards. I hope you go to our website, because you'll see there we revealed that the text that you see at the top is going to become from President Obama's speech to when he went to Selma for the commemoration of the march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And that speech really spoke to our country's unique ability to be self-critical, to renew itself, and for people to choose a different, better path. And it also shows, again, that we are standing on the shoulders of those who came before us, who made those difficult decisions, those difficult choices to forge that more perfect union. Belonging to the community, having global reach, but always rooted to who we are in the city, and particularly on the South Side as a people. I love that picture. You see the Museum of Science and Industry, the lagoon. It'll be a contemplative space that we can kind of get away from it all, but also one that has spaces that are very active as well, connecting people with one another. Let's get into it on the next slide so I can show you some more of the details. I talked about the disinvestment, the underinvestment that the South Side and other neighborhoods have seen. We estimate 700,000 visitors a year. We know that we are going to have billions of dollars of economic impact, creating thousands of jobs on the South Side of Chicago, not just those jobs that will be working at the center, but created and induced jobs as we have a catalytic impact on the economy. And also really honoring the Olmsted vision of this iconic park as a place of repose, as a place that people who live can use and get away. And right now, if you were to go out, it's a pretty nice day in Chicago after a tough winter. You put your mask on, you should be able to go get out. If you right now walked out, you went to Lincoln Park, Millennium Park, and Jackson Park, I think you see in Jackson Park, people aren't using this space the way they could. And frankly, we think the way they deserve. And so we're excited about connecting that park, bringing more people to it, to be able to have it be that park experience for city dwellers. That's such an important part of living in what I think is one of the greatest cities on earth. Next slide will show you that if you look at this site, this is kind of looking east at the top. You'll see the lagoon that I pointed out before, and then further up, further east is Lake Michigan. But we'll have a museum building, forum building, and a library, a branch of the Chicago Public Library. You couldn't really see those buildings except for the tall one on the shot that I showed. And that's because we're going to roll the park over on top of them, creating more green space, pushing those buildings into the earth. And as you move further south towards the field house and the Southside YMCA, you'll see the program gets a lot more active. There's a playground, there's a program, an athletic and activity center at the end. And so that is really the idea of what's coming to the Obama Presidential Center, 19 acres in historic Jackson Park. The next slide will show you the museum that I've been talking about. It'll have a replica of the Oval Office, placing their story and their narrative in a broader historical context, weaving together these braids of the Great Migration that brought Mrs. Obama's family to Chicago, the place of Chicago in American history, the national story and global story that President and Mrs. Obama are all a part of, weaving that together, looking at the past and inspiring people to see their part in creating the change that they want to see in the future. And one of the things I'm excited about, just a preview, you'll be able to experience that great night at Grant Park that we all remember from 2008 at the museum as well. The next slide shows you that we have, as I said, a plaza, a forum building, which will be this vibrant place where you could have there will be a media studio there, a restaurant, community rooms, programming rooms as well. And then we're really taking this library concept and taking advantage of something that I think is the best, one of the best things that Chicago has to offer, which is that social infrastructure that is created by the Chicago Public Library. I also will shout out both my mom and Tommy Meehan, two librarians who helped me understand just the importance of that a library can bring to a young child to open up minds, to open up dreams. And we're thrilled to have a branch of the Chicago Public Library at the Presidential Center. Next slide. The outdoor space is also going to be spectacular. We'll have a fruit and vegetable garden, learning about growing and preparing healthy food. Just one shout out to Mrs. Obama's, what's it called? Moki? I can't remember the first name of it, but we're going to be excited to have that happening at the center itself, as well as active space and again, contemplative, reflective space that really takes advantage of the natural world that we find ourselves in. We're incredibly sensitive and excited about that area, the biodiversity that's needed there. Frankly, the biodiversity there needs to be improved with native trees and native plants. There's also an opportunity to really honor, this is an incredible place for migrating birds. And so we've brought on experts in all of these areas to make sure that we're taking what's best about Jackson Park and that area and enhancing it, and hopefully providing more investment and resources into what is frankly an underinvested in part of the city and part of our park system. And the city is really excited about that investment as well. The next slide. So that's what we're doing. As you can tell, I am really excited about it. We are cleared to begin work and break ground in late summer, early fall. And it's a ambitious, daunting challenge. None of this is going to be easy. None of this, I would say, is a fait accompli. We don't have any of this kind of done and in the bag. This is a big plan, a big idea, and we're going to need support in order to accomplish it. And so I'm mostly here to just let you know what's coming. And then, hopefully you'll choose to get involved and help us bring this to life. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mike. That was quite an effective presentation. And as I had mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, I'm going to ask you one question, and then President Eric will take it from there so I can go and get my first vaccine this afternoon. But I would be remiss before asking a question to not at least offer our club's condolences to Mama Sarah.
Thank you so much.
That grandmother who died, I guess, yesterday. Yeah. And I also feel the same because my mom was a librarian, a law librarian down at SIU. She passed some years ago as well. But I guess, hearing your story about me and your mom, what what led you into this life of service?
No. Well, I think a couple things. I think one, I never really, it was always very intuitive to me. I never really knew it was special until I started to get engaged in public life. But, you know, I always had this, I was raised to believe that I had a responsibility to others, that I was blessed with opportunity, with a family, and that was sort of the rent you paid to be on earth. It was just a part of what we did. So that part was intuitive. And I think as I got older, and a huge part of this was my mother choosing to move from her home neighborhood in Chatham to Uptown, you know, that immigrant neighborhood in the north side of Chicago. And look, you know, she was a school teacher, and so we weren't well off. But I could tell that my life opportunities were different, and the challenges in front of me were different and lessened because I didn't live in Chatham. And I saw cousins and family members and friends who were there grapple with different things that I didn't have to deal with as we grew up. And I, you know, just to be upfront about it, it made me angry. I took that sense of justice and really saw injustice and felt compelled to do something about it. And so then as I started to do it, and I think you all seen this, it's a bit of a cliche. People say it all the time, but I've lived it. I got way more out of the service that I offered than I ever, you know, gave to anybody else. I didn't feel like I was making, frankly, that much of a difference in the things that I was doing. I was mostly everyone else's own will and desire and passion and skill that allowed them to do what it is that they were going to do. And then but I ended up knowing more about myself, learning more about my society, having more love and affection for the people around me. And it turned out having an impact. It made me a better father, maybe a better husband, maybe a better employee, and made me a better friend. And so it just, that flywheel effect started happening that you all are so familiar with, right? And now I'm stuck. I can't get out of it. So I'm just glad to be with fellow people who get it.
Thanks, Mike. President Eric, will you take over?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Don. And thank you very much, Michael, for that answer. We have a couple of questions coming in the chat box. And I know you gave me explicit instructions on this, but our past district governor, Osei, asked a very good question. So actually, Osei, I'll let you ask the question directly if you want to unmute yourself and ask Michael.
Michael, again, thank you for being here. So I've been trying to get you to a Rotary Club for a minute, so I'm glad that you're here. And now we got to get you on the Rotary Circuit and get you more support for the Obama Center in Chicago. So thank you, for being here. My question is about the Mandela Washington Fellowship. President Obama was visionary in getting that started a couple of years ago. And we here in Chicago have been blessed really by being able to host a number of them over the years. And in 2019, we got the chance to host a few that were here. And so my question is it possible that the Obama Presidential Center might be a hub for this awesome program that I just learned about, like really months before I met these folks coming from sub-Saharan Africa? And that would actually bring a lot of richness to us as a city and us as an institution as Rotary, and also to the communities of Chicago. So I was wondering if you know if the center might be a hub for this wonderful fellowship, assuming this continues to be funded.
Yeah. So one of the things, so the Mandela Fellowship, so everybody is familiar with it, it came out of something that President Obama and people in the State Department saw, and what you know, which is that there are civic leaders all around the world who are working so hard to create change and greater opportunity in their home countries, and that they often are isolated and feel somewhat alone, because in many of the societies, leadership is developed and through hierarchy, through positional authority, And very much embedded in the status quo. And so these civic leaders who are looking to change their society and create more opportunity really saw in President Obama a figure that they could really look up to. And we saw the opportunity in the White House to really start to create, embed values and create support and skills for these leaders, and would bring them to the United States on occasion. The Mandela Fellowship, Osa, was actually inspired one of our inspirations for our entire global leadership program. So that map that I showed, that was all inspired by what we learned through the Mandela Fellowship. We couldn't take it out of the State Department where it was, and we did it, and it was sort of embedded within a set of universities. But we're still doing it. So we are bringing, but we've made it global in one sense. And so we have a program at Columbia, and we have a program actually at the University of Chicago, where we're bringing leaders from overseas, giving them training, et cetera. And we plan to do much more of that. And yes, it will unquestionably have a hub and a home at the Obama Presidential Center. And we expect to learn a lot in the intervening years to be able to do that. But we also have continued to create continent-specific cohorts as well. And so we brought together in place in Africa, South Africa, I think almost 100 leaders from across the continent for about a week-long session. And that Africa Leaders Program still exists. You can find information about it on our website. They'd love to get engaged with Rotary. They'd love to get engaged with you. And yes, without question, we will be bringing them to Chicago at the Obama Presidential Center. And I think really having the opportunity to have that exchange, because the people who are on the ground in our communities, we're almost and very much I see are facing the same challenges, right? They're in community. They lack often resources. They lack often support. They've decided to stay in their neighborhoods to try to lift their society up and move forward. Very resonant with the same kinds of mindsets that we see overseas. And also the same sort of skill sets, people who work across difference, people who are very focused on empowering the community around them. People are very focused on results and actual change on the ground rather than focusing often on, rhetoric or even just theory. Very practical leaders. And so that is happening for sure. And I appreciate that question, man. So I'm glad, Eric, you didn't listen to me. That was a great question. I think that's the lesson from all of this.
That's right. It was a great question. What could I do, right? But we have a few more great questions coming in too. Here's one from the Deputy Consul General of the Czech Republic in Chicago, who asks about whether foreign countries can contribute to the collection at the Obama Center with some artifacts or photos regarding achievements of the president in those countries that have generally helped humanity globally, whether it's various treaties or other similar things. And if yes, who do they contact about that? Yes, double and triple yes. We are in a collection gathering mode right now as we attempt to build the material that will, go into this, the displays and the exhibits at the museum, at the Presidential Center. And just one of the things that I've learned recently that I'll share that I didn't really understand is that has to be a rotating effort, right? We need a lot of material because we're going to be consistently creating different kinds of stories and displays. And one of the things that I think is really an important story to be told at the Obama presidency is the impact that he had overseas and the way people kind of took on the cause and the charge and became a part of that movement. Some when he visited, obviously in person, but others who really, I think the word that our museum director, Louise Bernard, uses is ephemera, that kind of thing that was sort of created by people who were excited about it. And we need that. Louise has already done a raid of my closet of all the Obama stuff that I have. So I want her to have your stuff too. I think on that, why don't you reach out through Eric, through you and your team,
and I'll make sure that they get connected to the right people who are building the museum. But we'd love to have it. And frankly, if I know that there's a really strong diplomatic corps in the city, and this may be a great conversation that we could have with others as well. I hate to put my friend from the Czech Republic to work, but that may be a great opportunity for all of us.
That's fantastic. And we would be happy to serve as sort of an intermediary there through just to get the diplomatic community engaged. They reach out to us and we will definitely connect them to you, Michael. I'm going to combine this into one question here. This is getting a little bit more sort of into the design specifics of the center itself. The first part of the question is you mentioned about how buildings will be pushed into the ground. So just maybe a little clarification there. And does that imply, some really dark spaces? And then the other sort of maybe design or integration question is, are you connecting in any way with the golf courses down in Jackson Park?
Yeah, sure. So I want you to imagine there's pictures that sort of dimensionalize this that are on our website, but for the buildings that are they're about 2-story buildings, 1 story above ground, 1 story below. But we'll have, if you've been to the Lincoln Center in New York, we'll have that sort of garden effect, and so they will be below grade, but not feel like they're below ground. And so the light will come in, and those 3 buildings will connect at that level because it's Chicago and it gets cold. So you will also be able to move from the library building through the forum building into the museum, all at that below grade level as well. And just the other design feature, since I talk about, being able to connect indoors, one thing you will not be able to do indoors is go from the garage into the building itself. The garage is going to be, if you noted, there's some sledding that will happen hopefully in the winter, and there's a little bit of a grade in what we call the Great Lawn. We get that kind of topography in part because we're moving from sort of the 1-story forum and library building down to kind of the ground level. That will also move over part of the garage. But one of the things we wanted to do is, I love the Museum of Science and Industry, and we will be creating a museum campus with the Museum of Science and Industry at that site. So there'll be a museum campus on the south side, which I think is going to be very, very exciting. But when I go there, I don't really take advantage of the neighborhood because I'm at the Museum of Science and Industry. We used to drive from uptown, go to the museum, go underneath, use the museum, get in the car and drive back home. Part of what we want to do is really activate the neighborhood and have people sort of out of and seeing all that the South Side and all that neighborhood has to offer. And so it'll be a short walk, but there'll be a little bit of a walk as people emerge from the garage and take advantage of all that this center has to offer, whether it's the wooded walks or the plaza or one of the activities inside the Presidential Center buildings.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that clarification.
Oh, I'm sorry. And there was a second question.
Oh, about the golf course.
Oh, about the golf course. Yes. So the golf course, for everybody knows, the golf, there are 2 golf courses that exist right now just south of the Presidential Center site. One is a big one. I think it's called Jackson Park. I know it's called Jackson Park. That's what it's called. And the other one is a smaller one that is called South Shore. There has been a plan that the Park District has to put money into improving that golf course. I think that much like our project, a lot of that was held up by COVID, the economy, et cetera. My expectation is that work will renew and get started, but that is a part of the Park District's overall plan. It's called the South Lakefront Plan for the sort of almost, I'd say, everything around the presidential center itself. So we're like, I want more investment on the south side of Chicago. I want more investment in Jackson Park. But we got enough on our hands to create the presidential center itself. I am not taking on improving the golf course. Although I'll enjoy it once it's improved.
Well, that's good to know. Thank you. So, and I'm looking forward to once the center is up, maybe coming down there and hosting a Rotary Club of Chicago meeting at the center.
Let's do it.
All right.
Locked in.
We'll put it in the calendar.
Put it in the calendar.
Very good.
4 years from now.
And so actually and there are great questions coming in, and I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to have to wrap up the questions with one final question, which kind of relates to that, which is, what you guys are doing dovetails so nicely with what Rotary does, as I think Osei touched on quite well. How can the Rotary Club of Chicago work with the Obama Foundation to further your goals? Sure.
Well, look, I think about what you are doing in the community, in the city, outside of the city. And I would say there's probably a lot of ways in. I mean, I see opportunities for the work that we're doing with My Brother's Keeper that focuses on opportunity youth through Thrive Chicago. In the city, I think about the relationships that we want to facilitate within the neighborhood so that people in the community have access to all of our relationships and really can take advantage of the attention and the resources that come with the Obama Foundation coming. Right now, it's a little exciting and frankly a little scary. And I think the more that we have folks like the Rotary Club that want to come and do good, the less scary it'll be, because people will see their lives becoming tangibly better. And so, I'll just tell you that bringing this project to to Chicago is also going to be expensive. We're not taking any public dollars for this. This is all being raised privately. President Obama doesn't have, like some of the other former presidents, sort of a cadre of, folks who can just come and fund this thing. We're out, raising money for it. And we want to get Chicago excited about participating and literally like any amount that they want to give can give and support us. Last thing I'll say, because I just saw it in the chat and I've been spending a lot of time talking about President Obama, please look at something called the Girls Opportunity Alliance. Mrs. Obama just actually did a program on, I think, TLC with Pop Sugar. I have a 15-year-old daughter. She's rolling her eyes somewhere at me right now, because I'm sure I got all of that wrong. But the point of it is to provide resources to organizations overseas that are supporting the education of girls. And so it's called the Girls Opportunity Alliance. Again, all this is available on our website. So I would just say, Eric, for those of you who want to get engaged with us, if you have specific questions, let's use the city, your club's organization as a point of contact for me. I'll get you plugged in. But I'd say, I bet you if you go to our website, you'll find something to get excited about. And even if you don't, come invest in the South Side, come invest in the community. I think we'll be able to both improve the neighborhood, improve the kind of image of Chicago around the country and around the world, and learn lessons that we can take to the West Side, that we can take to Gary, Indiana, that we can take to Mumbai. That is the scope and scale and ambition of this project, and we're going to need help, your help in particular, if we're going to accomplish it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. And let's give Michael a virtual round of applause here for this great presentation and those great words of encouragement. I think I think we can have a lot of opportunities to work together. And I would also encourage folks to go down and visit Jackson Park. It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful park. If you haven't been down there, you're missing out on a lot. I think it's one of the most beautiful places in the city. Michael, we are going to send you a nice little candle here. It's a small token of our gratitude. But of course, the whole point of this is to support our communities. And so the money that supports these candles goes to an organization called Bright Endeavors. And their mission is to empower young moms by providing transitional jobs and professional skills training. Speaking of education for women and for girls. So this not only helps those young moms, but it also supports their kids and obviously ultimately our communities. So one of those will be in the mail for you. And I also want to say, and you don't have to answer this right now. I won't put you on the spot. And I think Osei will wrestle me for this one. But I would like to extend an invitation for you to join the Rotary Club of Chicago, because frankly, everything you've said aligns extremely well with what we do. So I'll just put that out there. Like I said, I won't put you on the spot, but I'll put it out there.
Well, that's all like incredibly generous. That's very generous, and I appreciate it. And I will demur, and only because my wife gave me a rule that I now have to follow, which is that I can't join anything else immediately. In fact, I don't know where it is. It was I think it's back at my desk. She actually gave me a no button because I needed it. It's not here, so I can't say no. Let's just.
I'll talk to Demona for you, Mike.
Okay. Osei has the inside track. Help me out. All right. Well, thank you for this, and thank you for the gift. This was really an honor.
Oh, you bet. It was great having you on. You're welcome to hang out as long as you like. I also know that you're a busy man, so
I'm going to
drop off. We won't be upset. So thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. Bye now.
Take care.
Thanks, Mike.
Apparently I need one of those no buttons because I didn't have one, and now I'm president of the Rotary Club of Chicago. So I guess that's what happened when you don't have one of those things around. So I let us kind of run a little bit long there because there were so many great questions coming in. So we'll probably finish a few minutes late today. So just a heads up for folks. Let's go to the introduction of our guests. So I will run through the names in my participant list. Please just tell us your name. If you're a Rotarian, what club you're part of. If you're not a Rotarian, tell us what brought you here today. But try to keep it brief because I know we do have a lot of guests on the list. So the first person here on my list, I know she put her name in the chat box. You're listed as LFAOU. Could you please introduce yourself?
This is Sonia Velasquez. I'm Executive Director of Literature for All of Us in Chicago. We serve the whole Chicagoland with book groups that are trauma-informed for youth.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you enjoyed the program.
Very much. Thank you.
Very good. We have another guest back with us again today, Adekunle Adebayo. Adekunle, please introduce yourself to the group.
The opportunity president, Rotarians, and guests. I'm Adekunle Adebayo, PHF, past president, Rotary Club of Water, District 9110, Nigeria. I want to join your club. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us yet again, and we did receive your application for membership. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Let's see. We have also, I see Elder Anton and Elder Jennifer Seals. Would you like to introduce yourselves to the group?
Sure. My name is Anton Seals. Forgive me, you caught me changing shirts. I'm getting ready to go on another Zoom, so I don't want to. But anyway,
no worries.
A beautiful presentation. I'm a former teacher at Hyde Park Career Academy, where this center's going to be built across the street. I'm a minister. I've been in ministry for 40 years. AJS Ministry, Anton and Jennifer Seals Ministry. I've been meeting with a group of alumni that I was a former coach and teacher to. Oh my God, 40 plus years ago. I was a football coach, a PE teacher, and a counselor at Hyde Park. So that's been some moons ago. I left in 81. But I'm on primarily to hear and also to get some information. And so it's been very, very helpful. I was introduced to call and Zoom in to Keith Cross, who's one of your Rotary leaders and been a former student of mine years back. And so invited me, and we're doing the podcast. So we're looking forward to having you guys on our podcast. It's called The Tabernacle in You. God bless you. Thank you so much. God bless everybody.
Thank you so much. God bless you as well. Thanks for joining us today. Osei, Keith is in your club, right? I believe is your.
That's correct. Yeah, Keith is a Rotary. Yep, Rotary Club of Chicago. No, he's assistant governor right now.
Assistant governor.
Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
He's the one that sent this to me, and so thank you. And please let him know that, and I'll let him know that I spoke with all you guys. It's been a beautiful presentation.
Thank you so much for joining us. That's fantastic.
Okay.
Let's see, our next guest here, I see iPhone Katie. Would you like to introduce yourself? Unless that's one of our Katies.
It's Katie Delahunt, sorry.
Oh, okay. No worries. Hi, Katie.
Great program. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, next on the list is Irv. Hey, Irv and Ruth.
Hi. It's overwhelming to attend today, to see Osei, and to always meet his friends and associates. I've had a lifetime of, let's say, visiting and partaking in everything on the South Side, especially that museum. I'll just add one thing. I went to the Museum of Science and Industry as a 12-year-old with money for candy or a bus. I bought a candy bar, so I walked all the way home to 16th and Central Park on the west side of Chicago. Anyhow, have a good day.
That's a great story, Irv. I love it. I love that you prioritize the candy over the bus ride. That's wonderful. Let's see. Our next guest here is our Deputy Consul General from the Czech Republic, Jan Kubišta. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jan Kubišta. Thank you very much. I follow, together with my Chief Consul General Jaroslav Kanturek, the whole development of the Obama Presidential Center, and we were wondering how to contribute to the collections of the center. So thank you for replying to me. And also, if you know President Václav Havel in Czech Republic, we would like to cooperate with Obama Presidential Center on this level, the Václav Havel Library and Obama Presidential Library or Center also.
That sounds like a great plan. So we will connect you after the meeting with Michael. Okay, and then you guys can coordinate on all of that. I think that sounds wonderful.
Thank you very much for organizing this.
Oh, you bet. Thanks very much for joining. It was a great question that you had, so I'm glad I was able to ask that. I think we have a few more folks here from the diplomatic community as well. I see Justin Lee on our list. Justin, would you like to introduce yourself to the group? You may be on mute, Justin. Well, we may need to come back to Justin. That's all right. Carrie Golub from Stockholm, welcome back. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. It was a very interesting speech. I'm very glad to hear it. And I'm from Stockholm, Sweden. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us again today. Look forward to seeing you again next time. Let's see. I see Lance Werner. Lance, would you like to introduce yourself to the group? And welcome back, by the way.
Thank you. This is Lance Werner, and I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Michigan City, Indiana, a past club president, and I really appreciate your speakers. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for joining us. We have a Leslie G. Leslie, please introduce yourself to the group.
Hi, I'm Leslie from Cabina Sunrise in California. This is my second or third time with you guys because you have very interesting speakers. And why not? It's lunchtime here in California, so it's a perfect time to listen in. Great speaker, by the way.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, and feel free to tune back in anytime. Next guest is Munira Zahabi. Munira, could you please introduce yourself to the group? You may be on mute, Munira. All right, well, we'll come back to Munira. I see a PK Misra. PK, could you please introduce yourself? I think PK, you may be on mute as well. All right, well, we'll come back to PK as well. Our old friend, Randy Pote. Randy, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, President Eric. Yes, Randy Pote, past District Governor 5300. Covina Sunrise is one of the clubs in District 5300. Awesome speakers. It's just a delight to be a guest each week. Thank you.
Well, we always love to have you. So come back anytime. And thanks for reminding me to make the offer of invitation to join Rotary to our guest speaker, which sometimes I can forget to do. So that was a good reminder. Let's see. Osei, I did already introduce you, but you can say a few words if you like.
Well, thanks a lot, Eric. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, great. Yeah, someone just mentioned that my microphone was really distorted earlier, so thank you so much for that. Osei David Andrews Hutchinson, Rotary Club of Chicago Southeast. Love what Rotary One does, as always, as the first Rotary Club in the world. Eric, I'm not going to rescue you from Mike Strautmanis. In fact, I'm 100 behind you, 200% for him to join your club, to join Rotary One. I think that would be awesome because, hey, he'll be a Rotarian. That's the most important part. But great program, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much. And Irv, my hero, my mentor in becoming district governor. Thank you so much, Irv, also for being here as well.
Thank you very much, Osei. I'm going to, let's see, next introduce Stephanie Emmerich. Stephanie, please introduce yourself to the group.
Sure, delighted. I'm a Chicagoan, a very proud member of Sister Cities, which I've had the pleasure of knowing Don Garner, and I can only imagine what exceptional work you're doing right now. And also a colleague of Ed Graziano of Corporate Event Interactive and Chicago Association Management. My world is completely about customer service, and I am so behind, literally in front of, but behind this project. And in my Master of Science right now, I'm actually studying this center. So as always, Eric, your programming is not only timely, but very relevant. Congratulations today.
Well, thank you very much. And thanks for those kind words. It's because of the great folks that I have supporting me in our programs committee that we get these kinds of fantastic speakers. We have our next guest. Well, I believe this may be one of the individuals that Michael mentioned. I see a Tommy Meehan from Wheeling. Could you please introduce yourself?
I'd be glad to. My name is Tommy Meehan. I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Wheeling, past president 3 times, currently an AG in District 6440. And I will keep pushing Mike, whom I've known since he was 4 years old, that it's time that he joined Rotary.
Right. He can put that no button off to the side, at least for a few minutes while he's signing up for Rotary, right? Mm-hmm. Well, very good. Well, that was very nice of you to join today to show your support for Michael. Thank you so much for joining our meeting.
I had to listen to him. See what he loved to.
Yeah, exactly, right? Tony Kembick, please introduce yourself to the group. I think you're on mute, Tony.
Okay, here we go.
There you go.
I've got my wife, Carolyn, with me because she's been on the trail for all 49 years that I've been a Rotarian. Some in Lake Forest, Illinois, just up the street a bit, and in Winnetka Northfield. And so I think we've held just about any office in the local clubs, did a few committee work jobs and a lot of international work. So wonderful to be here with you. I think we've maybe made 1 or 2 in person a few years back. and are looking forward to doing that again. Thank you so much for the opportunity of listening to your program and meeting all of your fine people.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. It's one of the nice parts of Zoom that we can welcome people from all over very easily, but we certainly look forward to seeing you in person again sometime soon as well, obviously. We have another guest here, Leonard Berg. Leonard, would you like to introduce yourself? You may be on mute, Leonard. Are there any other folks that I skipped over earlier who wish to introduce themselves to the group? Okay. Well, with that then, I'm going to move into announcements. And I know we are at 1:20, so bear with me. I'm going to try to get through some of these a little bit quickly, but we have a lot of important things to talk about here today. First off, if you look at your gyrator, we have a lot of things to celebrate amongst our members, and that's always something we want to do as Rotarians to support our own members. First of all, our very own Natalie Loma won a competition through her costume design. She won the Costume Designer Mrs. Division for the USA Petite Pageant state competition. We also have Nellie Vasquez Roland. She recently launched her new book, Healing, which is absolutely fantastic. I went to the book launch and got my signatures from all the authors of people who actually were helped by Nellie's organization, A Safe Haven. And I guarantee you, if you read that book, you will understand why we support A Safe Haven year after year because of the incredible work that they do. And I also want to give a shout out to John Wilhelm on the birth of his granddaughter, Sophia, his first grandchild. So congratulations, John. You can see photos of a lot of these things in the gyrator. I also want to give a thank you, as always, to the folks who step up and do volunteer service to help our community. Margaret Sheridan and Shada Calderwood and her family both stepped up. They're prospective members, and they both stepped up to help Lita deliver meals at Maple Point, which is something, by the way, that we have every Friday, 5:30 p.m. at 150 West Maple. It's super easy. Please sign up on the calendar to help our low-income seniors at Maple Point. I also want to give a shout out to John Alberts and Michelle Stewart for helping in the Rotary virtual reading room to read to young children. This is one of the super easy service projects you can get involved with. I'm sure we will be doing more of these, and it doesn't matter where you're at in the universe, you can do this via Zoom. And look at how much fun these guys are having. So if you haven't volunteered for anything yet, I ask that you volunteer for one of these reading rooms next time they come up. I also want to thank Laura Inns, Lisa Russ, and Frank Stawicki for helping out our Interact Club with their mask delivery. In terms of volunteer opportunities, I mentioned about Maple Point, the meal deliveries. We also have an Earth Day cleanup coming up on April 24th. This is something that's going on throughout the district. It's super easy for us because it's right down here at Grant Park. Please sign up on the website. It's from 10 to 12 p.m. on April 24th. We do want to get a head count as quickly as possible on that. And we're basically going to divide the park up into different Rotary clubs across the district. So let's make sure we have a good showing. Hopefully the weather will be nice and you just get to be outside and have a little fellowship with your fellow Rotarians in a beautiful park. We have our CPS opportunity grants. We've allocated $30,000 to help support the Chicago Public Schools. We don't claim to know what they need at CPS, and so we've asked them. So this is in the form of a grant. The grants are due tomorrow, and we're going to start reviewing those grants. So this is very exciting work. If you know any CPS teachers or administrators that can maybe get one in under the wire, they've got about 24 hours to get in a grant. I think the last I heard, we had at least 10 grant applications. I bet we'll get a whole bunch more in the next 24 hours here, because who doesn't submit things at the last minute, right? I think I'm going to just quickly, well, Marga, do you want to give us the 30-second update on the annual campaign? If you're still on.
I am on, yes, okay. We're slowly moving the needle, and you know what you need to do if you have heard me last week. For those who are visiting us, we have a foundation in our Rotary Club that enables us to do the projects that we do locally and internationally. We also are contributing to the Rotary International Foundation, which is a really great investment to do because, number one, the foundation has received the top rating by Charity Navigator for 11 straight years. Number two, this is money you give to the Rotary Foundation and it comes back in grants back to our club for us to choose how we want to use the funds that we have donated. So think how good that is. And the Rotary One Foundation as well, it works in a similar way. So if you're visiting us and you would like to contribute a little bit to either one of the foundations, please, you can click and it is as easy as donating with NPR, that they do such a good job at their fundraisers. But anyway, we're reaching slowly our goal, and I really would love to have the participation of every Rotarian this year. And if we are able to do that, I would say $25 would be great. Well, we are going to be recognized by Rotary International. So it is a really good incentive to keep giving. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Marga. Appreciate that. And thanks for all the work you do on that. For those who may be interested in serving the district, the deadline to apply for a position on the district board of directors is tomorrow. So please go to the Rotary District 6450 website and apply there. If you want to know what it's like to serve the district, we have two past governors with us today. So do reach out to Irv or Osei, and I'm sure they can tell you what it's like, or set you straight, depending on your perspective, I suppose. And speaking of the district, our district conference is June 3rd through the 5th. So again, go to the district website and register there. It's a great way to learn more about what we do as a district and what Rotary does more broadly. And if you register now, you can receive a fancy little swag bag. There's also some other great Rotary events coming up. Rotary and the UN coming up on April 10th. You can engage with a global audience there. Look at service projects, witness behind the scenes talks with leaders from the UN and with the Rotary world. So Tamara is going to drop the link into the chat box if you want to sign up for that. It is also in our newsletter, which went out this morning. Rotary Means Business is a way you can take your Rotary membership to the next level by networking, not just within our own club, but across the district. And now they have a special meeting of Rotary Means Business, which will have not only a virtual component, but will also have an in-person component at the Paul and Jean Harris home. So this is coming up in April. So please do sign up for that if you're interested in doing a little business networking. In order to keep things moving, there's a couple of other announcements. You can check the gyrator for some of those announcements. And I'm going to skip ahead just to our usual. The committee meetings are always on our calendar. So please do check that if you want to participate in community service, international service, PR marketing. Our board meeting is next week, Tuesday. You're welcome to sit in on that as well and see how the business of the club gets done. Our Friday roundtables at the Union League Club continue to meet, and we continue to have some good attendance. So if you're looking for that in-person fellowship, that is one way that you can participate. Anybody is a welcome. Show up between 12 and 12:30 roughly at the Union League Club and go to the 4th floor and you will find a table of Rotarians. I recently learned something very interesting, which is that the original Rotary Roundtable actually goes back 103 years to 1918. It is not a new tradition. It goes back to 1918, and it was started because during the last major pandemic, the Spanish flu, they had to cancel the regular large Tuesday Rotary meetings. And so as an alternative, they had these smaller and more casual roundtable meetings. So they were actually started during the last pandemic, kind of serving a similar purpose as they are now, which is an opportunity for in-person fellowship while our meetings are virtual. So I found that to be very fascinating. So come and be a part of history. Speaking of being a part of history, next week, Tuesday, April 6th, evening meeting, and we have our Chicago Women of the Year Awards. This is always a huge meeting. Please come and be part of this. If it were in person, we'd be sharing the room with 150 other people. It is virtual, but I expect it to be a similar level of attendance. So we look forward to seeing you all there. On April 13th, we have William Danko, author and professor emeritus of marketing at SUNY Albany. So that also will be a very interesting meeting. And so now we move, as always, to the four-way test. And Carrie, I see you're still on from Stockholm. Would you do us the pleasure of reciting for us the four-way test, which is on the screen right now?
Yes. The four-way test of this we think, say, or do first. Is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendship? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? I'm sorry for my English. I understand better than I speak. Sorry.
Your speaking is absolutely perfect. And that's exactly what I was looking for. So thank you so much, Carrie. Thanks for joining us again. Thanks everybody for sticking with us an extra 10 minutes to allow for all those extra great questions. With that, meeting adjourned.